9,900 ounces of gold was found right here at Magenta. It's an area they call it Magenta. That's why they call it Magenta Mines, the gold mine. So that's going back in the early 1900, about 1901 I think, and the mining went up till the 1930s. So it was really full on. So let's check it out. Right here at Chiltern, it's about 6 k's from Chiltern, going east on the Barnawatha Road. So and there's a left-hand turn on the road that goes to the Magenta mine. Let's go and check it out. Imagine this, doing this down the mine shaft. You got one guy right down the bottom, and there's a bucket. He shovels all the dirt, all the mullock, and puts it in the bucket, and it gets winched up by a horse, or by a horse. The horse pulls it up. It was the only means of transport, machinery in those days. Yes. And this meant that it could have a mine 80 metres or more deep, as the horse attached to a cable and pulley system walked up and back from the mine to raise and lower the buckets. And of course they have a whim. A lot of hard work there. Now this here is a bit of a race, a mining race that leads to the tunnel, to the mine shafts. We can't go through in there at the moment because it's pretty dangerous. Mine shafts, they are very dangerous. Gold mine workings extend to a depth of nearly 100 metres. Now the hole in front of you is a stope, which is the cavity left behind after a quartz reef has been mined. This side reef was up to 6 metres wide and was mined to a depth of over 30 metres. To the end of that. And as you can see, right in that stoke, what we call a stope, S-T-O-P-E. And you can see some boards across. They use it for planks, I guess. So this is what I mean by there was a man, a gold digger, right down the bottom of that shaft with a rope and a bucket. It was winched up all the way up by a horse. Yeah, I would imagine it would have been in that area. and the horse. And there are numerous other mine shafts around. That is actually a tunnel down there. I'm not going to go down there, but I guess any miner, professional miner or professional cavers probably might be interested in going down there, I don't know. And there's another one over there in the middle. That's where that tunnel meets, apparently. So there you go. There's the tunnel behind me. It's quite spooky, isn't it? It looks spooky. I reckon it would be. So, Now we have Magenta open cut. We were over there before. That's when we saw the stope, which is around about in the middle there, and it swings around behind that mound and into there. So this is the open cut. This is where it all opened up. Yeah. As I said, we can't go down there really. It is quite dangerous. So they're pledging people, the public, not to go down there for their own safety, because any of those cliffs, rocks could fall. Yeah. And of course the track goes right around outside that fence there. It's a bit of a walk, just goes right around. And this is as far as we can view the open cut. Now look at that rock. That piece of rock there looks like it's going to fall eventually. It's got a crack going right in. I can see that crack right in the middle. Yeah. And there's a hole right in the middle. I reckon if we get an earthquake or an earth tremor, or put anything as heavy on top of that, or anybody on that, that could collapse. Mining here began in 1858 and continued for many years. With the excavated area, a number of narrow quartz veins occurred which were rich enough to allow company to mine the whole formation. So the mine stone was taken to the battery, crushing the machine, what's called a crushing machine, by a horse and dray. Deeper quartz was worked from a whip shaft downhill of where you were standing. The whip was what I mentioned about earlier, where the horse pulls the rope with the pulleys and rises up the buckets from down the shaft. Yeah. The horse-powered haulage via a whip was used to raise the buckets of stone from the old mine shaft. So they would raise the stone, then they would send it to the battery. The battery, as I said, is a crushing machine. It has to be crushed. And hallelujah, money, yes, gold is where you'll find it. Now you'll probably be wondering, why are there so many like anthills these little hills. They're full of ants. It's all mullock. What it is, it's all leftovers of mullock, of rock from the diggers. So all this all remains. So you might find there's numerous mine shafts, little mine shafts around the area. What you can see right behind me, a little bit of a concrete, which I'm going to show you very shortly. This was the old stamper. Well, we call it the gold crusher, the stone crusher, and that's what we call the battery. Well, we call the battery area where they crush all the rock and the mullock, stones, rocks, and they sift it all out to find gold. So this is the area where they had it. That was the battery site. Imagine how noisy it would have been in those days. It would have been very, very noisy, I'd say, because you've got big heavy weights of compression, probably tons and tons of pressure hitting, bashing all the rocks. Just imagine how noisy it would have been. Yeah, clunk, 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 clunk. Yes. So, just going to have a little bit of a look around. There you go. This pond that's behind me, they would have used that during the the battery mine sites, crushing the rocks. They would have to use the water supply, because while they're crushing the rocks, it would create friction, and that friction could cause fire. So to prevent that, they would use the water supply from this pond that's behind me as a to keep everything cool while the rocks are getting crushed. Now I can't pass here because these little plants, they are very, very dangerous because they're very prickly. They're like swords. I sort of ran into it and felt prickles on my leg. So yeah, they are very, very sharp needles. Now that concludes our little tour of the Magenta gold mine here at Chiltern. I really wish they would send people down the bottom to get a closer look of the tunnel and of the stope. It would be great, but unfortunately it's not safe, so we've got to really abide that. It's not safe at all, but you know, it's there preserved, well preserved, and I like that. So now my next adventure will be in mid-June. That'll be Lake Benalla walk. We're going to do that. So that'll be a great journey. That'll be a great trip. The journey around Lake Benalla. So I shall see you then. Bye.